Good evening, everyone. And we got a dog in the background. That's fun.
Special
Special
guest.
guest. Love it.
Yeah, that
No,
is
it's
Teddy. That is Teddy. He's barking at
Teddy.
people that walking around. My dog. He's a little doggy. You know, Kenny.
All
I
right.
I I grew up with big dogs. You know that.
Yep. So we're
And
here,
and
New York Giants
all of a
football
sudden,
talk. Oh, hold on, we're here, New
yeah.
York Giants football talk. I just want to get the intros in. Uh, Welcome, that PA scratcher guy on kick saying hello. What's up, PA? Great to see you. But practice is here, training camp is here, preseason's here. The season's a week away, weeks away. I'm here with my good friend Paul Rosen, and we got some special guests that we'll introduce in a second too, as well, Paul. So, how are you doing, Paul?
Good evening, Kenny. Good evening, Mark and Teddy. Uh, wow. First week of joint practices. We have a little bit to discuss about the excitement that went on at Giants camp this morning and afternoon, and looking forward to a great show with our special guest tonight.
Absolutely. Well, Mark is always a welcome guest, fellow Giant fan. We don't like to call our fellow Giant fan special guest. He's family. He's New York Giants family, good friend of mine for years. Eddie agrees. I'm going to put Mark
Yeah,
on
he is.
mute for a second while I say we got a special guest, Carson, coming on. Carson Scheer, co-host K&K Sports Show and Carson Scheer Show. Check that out. We'll be talking Lions with Carson roughly 8:15, Paul. So we will get that
Looking
going.
forward to that.
And we'll have Carson on, and we're going to have some fun with Carson for sure. So going to get into it, Paul. I'm going to start. Good friend Jimmy Eisenman saying hello, Paul. What's up,
Hey,
fellas?
Jimmy.
Hope all is well. Another fellow Giant fan. Jimmy, excited about MALIKNABERS. We're going to get into some Giants talking, and we're going to get it going with the start of a brief recap of Hard Knocks. Hard Knocks ended last week, guys. I thought it was a phenomenal series, Paul. I know you've been watching bits and pieces of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've been catching the weekly episodes, and it ended last week with the draft. Was the talk was the episode revolved around the draft, and MALIKNABERS was obviously our number one pick, and it looks like the Giants actually declined some trades for MALIKNABERS. So that was very interesting to see and to go through the draft process. It was nice to see the scouts, how they do it. They call the kids up, ready to be a Giant, and they show them how they bring them in for the visits, and it was a great series all around. I think we got a winner in MALIKNABERS. We'll get into that shortly. But Hard Knocks, it was fun to watch the New York Giants behind the scenes and see how things are run. Mark, let's get your intro in now. Teddy said hello a couple times to us. But Mark, how you doing? Is there any way Teddy can get put in the background?
I'm trying. Just
all right. Just come back in a couple minutes. Come back in a couple minutes. We'll get you going. All right. Jimmy Eisman saying Malik is looking really good. And this is where you get live TV, but we don't mind dogs. We're animal lovers here. If it was a person doing all that yelling in the background, I'd have a problem, but I can't get mad at my boy Teddy. I can't do it. He's a Giant fan, so fellow Giant fan, Paul.
Go Giants.
Jimmy's saying Malik is looking really good. I'm going to catch up on comments. Jimmy's saying Malik looks really good. I'm more excited to see what the O-line looks like. Yeah, we're going to get into that.
We'll talk about that.
Yep. Good friend, there he is, Mr. Valenti, saying,
hey, Kurt.
It's about to be the bow time, boys. Paul, get Kenny on the Bo Nix train. Hey, get that Calderia guy on board, too.
We'll see.
Foot in the mouth. That's all I'm going to say. Watch what you guys say. Because, I hope he pans out for you. But if he doesn't, the foot is in the mouth, boys. And our good friend Jody Moncrief from the Denver Bronco Roundup.
Hey, Jody.
What's up, Jody? Tuesday nights, Friday nights, Rocky Mountain Sports Network, Denver Bronco Roundup, Keith Brugman, Trevor Salzman, Jody Moncrief, Albert Knoppers. Best around. Kenny, can we talk about those Jones video I sent you, LOL? They like to bust chops. There he is. There's Teddy on screen.
Hey.
We'll say hello to him in a second, Mark. I'm just reading some comments. He likes to send videos of Daniel Jones incomplete passes and this and that. What they don't realize is Bo Nix is doing the same thing, but in Denver, all they show is Bo Nix's highlights. So New York media is going to show all the Daniel Jones mistakes. Denver media is going to show all Bo Nix's highlights. So,
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about Daniel Jones in a second because that's who I want for my quarterback. And we'll talk about what happened today at practice. So go ahead,
all
Kenny.
right. What's up, Mark? What's up, Teddy?
Hey, Teddy.
A formal intro in. Mark, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. It's just he barks at every little thing everything he sees, people, everything.
That's
I'm like,
fine. That's fine.
what are
He's
you
excited.
doing?
He's
Oh,
excited.
yeah, he's excited. Yeah,
All
he
right,
does that
so
all the time, Ken.
Let's get into it. Jody saying,
Hey.
are you surprised? I'll ask Paul. Are you surprised Locke hasn't gotten more of a chance to win the quarterback job, Paul?
No, absolutely not. Joe Shane said right almost from the beginning, it's his job to lose, and the guy's played phenomenally so far. And after what he did today, I think the team is going to be just knowing he's our guy. The way he stood up for some of the players in the joint practice against the Lions today. So no. Locke may get a chance if God forbid he gets injured again, but I think it's his team.
And Mark, Jody, Moncrief, and Kurt are having fun trolling us about the Broncos. He wants us to get on. Kurt wants us to get on the Bo Nix train. What do you think about Bo Nix, Mark?
Dude, he was good in college. Dude, you have to run the system that he's good at. And you know what? Oregon had that system with the little dink and dunks. You know what? I hope he does pan out for Denver. I heard Kurt hit the gem on Bo Nix. But you know, you got to give him time because you know what? He's going to be deer in the headlights like all these rookie quarterbacks.
Yep, and I'm not afraid right now to throw Kurt under the bus. Well, I'm ready to do it. I'm waiting for Carson. We got a couple minutes. Kurt, you have been wrong about every single quarterback on the Broncos since Peyton Manning.
True.
That includes Paxton Lynch, Paul, Mark, Brock Osweiler, Tim Tebow, most recently Drew Lock. The only one he didn't like was Teddy Bridgewater. I'll give him that. And Mr. Russell Wilson. So those are just a few names that have definitely struck out. Case Keenum, another one, Kurt.
Yeah.
Case Keenum.
Yeah.
So this is the Giants show, Kurt. If you're going to troll us with Bo Nix, I'm going to come out to you and get you with the other Giant.
Well, like you said, Kenny, remember Case Keenum when he was with Minnesota? He did that miracle against and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden he goes to Philadelphia. He gets trounced.
Yep.
Got hammered.
Yep. Here's a Jimmy comment from Jimmy. Everyone is going to throw incomplete passes. The New York media is always going to come down hard on New York athletes when they falter. Thank you, Jimmy. Jody, I hope you're listening to that. That's the truth. The New York media is the hardest media in the country. So you're going to see people post incomplete passes or defense. But you know what, Paul, Mark, to me, I think our defense is better than people think. Paul, what do you think about our defense? You know, is it more of our defense or is it more Daniel Jones? I got my take on why, you see some of these highlights of Jones, missing players, but I'll let you go first, Paul, and then I'll ask Mark the same question.
The defense is going to be very good. As far as Daniel Jones, so many people can't stand him. So many people are negative. Doesn't matter what he did 2 years ago. Last year was the total train wreck. I'm throwing that out. It wasn't even most of his fault. He got injured. The offensive line was historically bad. I think if he can stay healthy with the upgrade of offensive line and the upgrade of the weapons, I think this kid is going to have a nice year. And I'm so sick and tired of hearing these negative Nellies about how bad he is. We'll see. He's going to show everyone how good he's going to be. That's all I can say.
Real quick, I'll give you the same question. What do you think of our defense?
I love the defense. That front seven, man. Oh, like I said, you have Tibbs on one side, got Burns on the other, and then you have big, sexy Dexy in the middle. and then you have another guy. Who's the other guy? Rocha from Tampa, the one.
Nacho. We call him
Nacho.
Nacho.
Nacho and Rocha, whatever. I'm sorry,
That's
but
right.
dude, that front seven and even the linebackers. We call you have Bobby Okereke and you have oh my God, he's from the Big Ten. I know who Michael McFadden. Dude, he came out of nowhere last year against Frisco. He had like 10 or 11 tackles, and I think 8 of them were solo.
Right.
It was crazy, and I like him, and he's from Big Ten too. He's from Minnesota.
Nice. Let's get some more comments in. And Keith Brugman, the fabulous Keith Brugman from the Rocky Mountain Sports Network. I'll be filling in for Keith tomorrow. Keith's in Ohio, on his way to Ohio, take his daughter to college out there. So hope travels are going well, Keith. We miss you. We'll see you next week. But thank you for hanging out with us and giving us a question. Fabulous Keith Brugman, Denver Bronco Roundup, Tuesday nights, Friday nights, 9:15 Eastern Time. Question to these amazing New York Giants podcasters. How many Pro Bowl players, Paul, will be selected from the New York Giants?
We had that question last week, I think, or 2 weeks ago.
I think it was last week, Paul.
Last week, yeah. Stealing our thunder, Keith, but I'll answer it. I think we could have 3 or 4. Certainly Dexter, Kayvon, Burns, Okereke on defense alone. And, hey, if Malik becomes the player that some people hope and expect, hey, even he can be a Pro Bowl player. So we can 3, 4, 5 players easily.
Mark, you going same number?
Yeah, I agree with Paul. Like at least 4 on the defense. At least 4. Like Paul said, Tibbs, Okereke, you have Burns, and you got Dexter right there. There's 4 right there. It's like, hey, it could be one of our safeties too, or the corner. It could be Banks if he has an awesome year.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Maybe Thomas from the offensive line, because he's been really our anchor. He's been, the only thing is that he hasn't been healthy like last year. Hopefully he's healthy this year and he'll be, ready to rock and roll.
That's it. I'm going 4 as well, but I'm going to say there'll be a snub. So you're going to see Burns or Thibodeau get snubbed. Dexter's a definite. Okereke, good possibility. And I'm going to say Andrew Thomas is going to be our offensive and Malik Neighbors. 2 offense, 2 defense. I think
Okereke got snubbed last year. Yeah, he played every single play the whole year.
Yeah, I think he missed 1 play maybe. Oh, I think.
Yep. Let me get the comments, and then Carson's in the background, so we'll bring Carson in. Catch up on Jimmy's comments with Jimmy's seen some really nice throws from Daniel Jones. And I was just going to say, a lot of downfield throws. So Malik Neighbors, watch out, possibility rookie of the year. Jimmy Eisman also says Jones needs time. All starts with the offensive line. If he gets 3 seconds, it'll be an improvement. Jody saying Thomas on the offensive line. Don't sleep on Isaiah McKenzie on 4 and 5 wide formations. Jody laughing, saying Evan Neal. We all have busts, Jody. Like I said, all your quarterback busts. So you keep trolling us. I'm going to troll you back every time you troll. I'm going to throw the Bronco troll out there. Jody has a question, and I'm going to get to that in a second, but I'm going to get Carson in. Johnny Beelan's got the line of the night. Good evening, fellas. These 2, wow. Reminds me of Pinky and the Brain. Ha ha, just kidding. Giants are winning 5 games max. Laughing out loud. Hope it's all well with you, fellas.
Wait, Kenny, the Jets finally have a possibility, but they're going to blow it. That's the Jets. Possibly going to the Super Bowl, quote unquote, and all of a sudden, Jet fans are coming out of the woodwork. I mean, give me a break.
Exactly, Paul. You nailed it.
I'm going to bring in our special guest this evening. Let's give a warm welcome to our good friend, our co-host on K&K Sports Show, Carson.
There he is.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
YouTube channel.
What's up, Carson?
Hey,
how you doing?
Hey, Carson.
Nice to meet you, Carson.
I'm plugging Carson's 3 shows. Carson just has celebrated 13 years on YouTube. Give him a round of applause. Carson Claus, his original show.
Yeah, Teddy will give you applause too. Teddy, hey.
And then
Thanks,
his show he started a few years back called Ticket Time. That one's running strong as well now on YouTube, and you can catch him on Kick, Facebook, all the platforms. And then most recently at the Sports Talk Show, and we're going to have him plug it at the end before he leaves us, the Carson Scheer Show, which can be seen on YouTube and Facebook as well. But Carson, how you doing? Getting some congratulations out there from our audience members, Jimmy and Johnny Beelan out there. They're all saying congratulations.
Appreciate it, guys.
Appreciate you coming on tonight. Carson, big Lion fan, but I'm going to give Carson this question from an outside perspective. It comes from Jody. And then we're going to get into your Lions, Carson, who are practicing with our Giants these next couple of days leading into preseason. Jody wants to know how good the Giants' run game is going to be without Barkley.
You're asking me that?
I'm going to ask you an outside perspective.
It's obviously going to take a significant downgrade. I mean, Saquon and Devin Singletary, those are two completely different worlds. But again, it starts with O-line. You guys did improve your O-line. I did finish watching Hard Knocks. So that was, they did a pretty good job showcasing everything, what the ownership was doing in free agency. So you guys addressed that. And Devin Singletary was pretty good when he was with Buffalo. He was kind of the backup role with James Cook, but when he went down, he stepped up. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it happens. But like I said, Kenny and I talked about this. If it comes down to you pay your O-line, you get an improved O-line, or you pay Saquon a ridiculous amount of money, but your O-line is still the same. I'm probably taking the O-line more 99 times out of 100 times. So, I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be a downgrade, but if I had to give it a scale of 1 to 10, maybe a 5, 5.5, maybe 6.
Not bad at all. And thanks, Carson, from the outside perspective. Johnny Beelan, getting back to saying good evening, he says Kenny looks like the OC and Paul looks like the defensive coordinator for the little Giants. Johnny Beelan, always good to hear from you. But Jimmy's saying don't sleep on Eric Gray. He's a solid back. So we're going to see. We're going to get into some players in a minute. Jody saying that Paul Estime is looking good at Bronco camp here, fellow.
Oh, that's good to know. Go Irish.
We brought Carson on. He's a big Lions fan. He's a big Detroit sports fan. So we want to get into some Lions talk with Carson. Carson, we just real quick, Paul. We'll get everybody's perspective on this, but I'll start with Carson. We're practicing, and we already seen 2 brawls during practice the first day. Paul sent me both of those videos. What are your thoughts on little fights going on? Do you like it? Do you think it's like, I don't know if I like this,
Yeah, I kind of like it, as long as it doesn't get way too out of hand. What I saw was mostly pushing and shoving, which that's going to happen. Guys are fighting for roster spots. The preseason's about to begin. Everybody's looking forward to playing time, and these guys are fighting to make a roster. So I love how Daniel Jones. There was one video where he stood up for one of his guys. He shoved a line out of the way, so that was cool to see from a quarterback. But I don't have a problem with it as long as nobody gets seriously injured or hurt. But pushing and shoving is fine. I think that's part of the game.
Paul, you sent me the video, so good take there, Carson. You sent me the video, so what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, listen, you get your quarterback sticking his nose, especially someone coming off of a serious knee injury, and jumping in there to jumping in there to defend his player. I love it. I don't want to hear someone say Daniel Jones is soft. He's listen, you stuck your nose in there to help your teammate out, and that was fabulous. And I'd love to see him do that. And I don't know if that was before or after he hit Neighbors on that deep out pattern. That was great. Long throw. I'm sure you saw that, Carson, as well.
Yeah.
But just the idea that he was able to stick his nose in, that really, really felt good as a Giant fan, and hopefully the team sort of comes together around that and sees his competitiveness.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, did you see the fights? If not, I know you played sports competitively. What do you think about pushing and shoving and Daniel Jones getting in the middle of the scuffles?
Oh, I love Daniel Jones getting in the middle of it. You know what? He needs to step up because of what happened last year. I figure because guys are probably like, oh man, he's probably a little Gurley, but he stepped up for the guys. I'll give him credit for that. But I love it. You know what? They're getting their frustrations out. Instead of against us, they're going against, the Lions and stuff like that, different guys. So you know what? They're just getting their frustrations out. So I like how they scuffle and stuff like that. I like it.
Yeah, and I'm with you guys. I liked it too. I told Carson, I said, I actually like the fighting going on, and I told Paul too. Jimmy saying fighting is very common. Carson, you nailed it. Starts with the O-line, with the running that was earlier. Jody, Carson, for you. Carson, reports says Hendon Hooker has been throwing dimes in camp. Is that true? You seeing that? What are your thoughts on Hendon Hooker?
Yeah, I think all Lions fans, especially Thursday, he's probably going to be the starter in the preseason game, taking his first reps in a game. Obviously we took him in the third round last year, and then he was injured, so we had to sit him out and rehab and learn behind golf. But we'll see what happens. If he starts lighting it up in preseason, he could get a couple reps on some downs this year. So I'm looking forward to him playing this year.
Hold on, Mark. I gotta mute you. I can't keep.
No, it's fine.
I'm sorry. I may have to, keep you on mute. Eddie Murphy joining us, guys. What's up, Eddie?
Hey, Eddie.
Hey, Eddie.
For you, Paul. Eddie saying love fights, but why don't they do body shots, Paul, instead of swinging at dudes with helmets on? LOL.
I saw that he put that on Facebook today. I laughed. I chuckled when I saw that. You would think that they would. It's ridiculous. You're swinging at players that have masks on, helmets on and everything. Somebody's going to break their hand. Hopefully not a receiver, but yeah, you would think the IQs of some of the football players are not that high, unfortunately.
Right.
So,
Eddie,
but he's
Murphy.
right.
Eddie Murphy, Carson, remember you're public. You're kind of the enemy tonight. You're everybody's friend, your family. But tonight we got a little bit of enemy in you tonight. So you're on enemy turf tonight.
Yeah, it's
Eddie
all
throwing
good.
a jab. St. Brown got thrown back to Detroit in the one clip he's seen.
Oh, did he? Wow, I didn't see that. Yeah.
I saw that also.
Jabs from the Giant fans. Go ahead, Paul.
I was going to say, yeah, that was the other fight. Apparently, him and Dane Belton went at it, and then I think Drew Phillips jumped in, and all hell broke loose in that second fight. So, yeah, it was a little feisty, to say the least.
There's our good friend Don Johnson saying, "Was that special effects?" No, that's Mark's dog Teddy. Ted is excited. He's a big Giant fan. He's ready for the. He's ready.
Yeah,
for
he's ready.
Season.
He's ready to forget the cowgirls.
we don't mind. We don't mind, but he's a little excited. So Carson, a couple questions we had for you, and we'll do it as Lion fans too. Well, we'll do it as Giant fans, I should say.
Sure, yeah, go for it.
All right.
Well, if you got anything for Carson, I'll start it off. Player, it's only week 1, Carson, but into training camp, who has been a standout player in training camp for you so far? Like out of the rookies, I would say. Like, who are you most excited for out of your rookies?
Yeah, I think it's got to be Ennis Rakestraw Jr. In this draft, we took back-to-back corners. Terrion Arnold, by the way, he got actually injured today, so hopefully he's okay. No status on what's going to happen with that. But Ennis Rakestraw Jr., I think that was a phenomenal pick that Brad Holmes made in the second round. So I think he can be an absolute stud in our secondary. So I would say Ennis Rakestraw, the kid from Missouri, he's going to make a big part on our defense this year.
Paul, anything for Carson?
Yeah, of course. Carson, how do you see Jahmyr Gibbs this year? Last year, of course, they brought him in a little slowly as a rookie, but what do you think his role will be now that he's established himself as a running back in the NFL?
Yeah, I'm super excited for Jahmyr Gibbs. He got a lot of criticism last year when we took him in the first round. Started off the season a little bit slow, trying to get his feet wet. And then what you saw when David Montgomery went out, he just absolutely exploded Ford Field. The kid's a beast. There's a bet going on right now that Amon-Ra St. Brown with Jahmyr Gibbs. And he said if he can get 1,000 receiving yards and 1,000 rushing yards, Amon-Ra St. Brown will buy him anything he wants. And if that happens, that would be absolutely phenomenal, because there's only been 3 guys in NFL history to do that, 1,000 rushing and receiving yards in the same season. So if he does that, that would be unbelievable. So yeah, I think he's going to be a huge piece. Maybe like an Alvin Kamara type kind of role. But I think he could even be bigger than that.
Nice. Carson, next question we'll do as Giant fans and you do as a Lion fan. And we'll go around maybe 2, maybe 3 times. But your number one guy you're looking, even though it's week 1 preseason, number one guy you're looking forward to watching Thursday or these next couple days in practice leading into Thursday? Who would be your number one guy? It's week 1, so you're not going to see everybody play, but who would be a guy you're looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, I think it's got to be Hendon Hooker. The guy has been so highly anticipated being on this roster. Obviously he was injured last year. He's supposed to be the starter Thursday in preseason. The guy that could possibly be the future. Who knows what's going to happen with Goff, in the next couple of years. But I think he the most. And then we're still trying to find our wide receiver 3 right now. Antoine Green's a guy I'm looking forward to as well, seeing develop. Donovan Peoples-Jones, Khalif Raymond. We're still trying to find our 3rd wide receiver. So any of those young guys, but mostly Hendon Hooker.
Nice. Cody Wild is saying hello. What's up, Cody? He's saying, yeah, Gibbs is very explosive.
There you go, Cody.
Thanks for hanging out, Cody. Mark, a Giant that you're looking forward to watching these next couple days and preseason game on Thursday.
The rookies, Theo Johnson and Tracy Jr. I want to see how they're going to be. I want to see if, because supposedly, like from Hard Knocks, he could be Theo Johnson could be the starting tight end for them.
Right, with Waller retiring, obviously.
Right, and we have Bellinger. But like I said, if you got Theo Johnson, like you said, if you can run the themes, he runs 4-5.
Yep.
As a tight end, he's almost like a Shockey.
That's right. I got Shockey's jersey on, by the way.
I got that. Tracy, I want to see Tracy, running the ball, and he's a converted wide receiver. I want to see if he could catch the ball. I want to see him if he can do the wheel routes or the swing passes. See how he's going to do with that.
Right. I'm going to get to comments in a second, but Paul, a Giant you're looking forward to seeing this week.
It sounds kind of almost basic for me. I want to see Daniel Jones go out there, but it's going to be Daniel Jones / the offensive line. I want to see him go out there, maybe play the first quarter and a half and show us that he's healthy. He's going to stand there and throw the ball and make connections in regular games with MALIKNABERS and some of the other rookies, as you guys mentioned. So I want to see him play well, and take off every Giants fan, most Giant fans' minds that this guy's going to be able to come back this year.
And I love it, Paul. And Mark, I love yours. And Carson, that you had great ones with the Lions. I got a couple questions for you in the chat I'm going to get to in a minute. Mine is going to be, and you guys are going to laugh, mine is going to be Drew Lock. And that's not because I think Drew Lock is going to take the starting job from Daniel Jones. It's because I know we're going to see Drew Lock play on Thursday. And if Daniel Jones was to get hurt, I need to see what I got in Drew Lock and see if he's connecting with the receivers and see if we got a reliable backup. Or could it be maybe Tommy DeVito, believe it or not? Get the cutlets up. It might be the cutlets. So
could be the cutlets.
I'm curious to see Denver's Drew Lock. But I got a couple questions out there for everybody. Let me catch up on them. Kurt, Gibbs is a stud. Brown, stud. And there he is trolling. They like trolling.
God.
Carson. Jump on that Bo Nix train now. Good to see you. Carson, Eddie Murphy saying Kadarius Toney is probably available for you.
Oh, God.
He won actually against the Chiefs last year.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I have a proposed trade, Carson.
Yeah.
I love the guy, and I want him to stay on the Giants. But if they were to make a trade, would you think Darius Slayton would be a good third receiver for you guys?
Yeah, I would love Darius Slayton. Obviously been in the year a couple years, solid veteran presence. I would love Darius Slayton. I don't know what it would take. Maybe a fourth, fifth round pick for him. But I wouldn't mind that.
Carson got a question from Jody. It's a good one. This one I'll allow because this isn't really trolling, but he wants to know what Denver is getting in Reynolds.
Yeah,
Josh
Jody, I think you and Kurt are going to be pretty happy. Josh Reynolds was a huge part of our passing game on the Lions last year. Really, he was wide receiver 2 right behind Amon-Ra. He got crucified in the NFC Championship game because he did make a couple of big drop passes, but I think he's a legit wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3 to go with Sutton and Mims on your offense. So if Bo Nix can throw the ball downfield, you're gonna love Josh Reynolds. He's a solid vet. He can make some big plays on the open of the field, and I think you and Kurt are going to be happy.
I like it. Cody Wild is saying Giants need to move on from Danny Boy, so he's not a Daniel Jones fan. Kurt, Daniel Jones, want to see him holding a clipboard. Well, he could be next to Bo Nix because he's going to be right there with you guys. Slayton is a pro's pro. I like that from Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy saying the refs were already in midseason form calling that Neighbors catch incomplete during practice. I didn't see that one.
Oh, that was incomplete? I thought that was a good catch.
They called that
Didn't realize that.
Apparently.
No kidding.
Kurt's saying Reynolds is getting good reviews at Bronco camp. And Eddie's saying, don't ask him. He said Giants were getting a great wide receiver in Galladay. LOL. Yeah. He's throwing a jab at you.
The line of the night from Eddie.
Oh, Kenny Galladay.
Kurt throwing a Knicks
my God.
in there. He says, Mark, wait till I put Halliburton in the freezer. He's going to put that blank in the freezer. I'm going to go to ShopRite and put his ass in the freezer. Let's go, Knicks. So Kurt,
we'll talk about that on Wednesday's show.
Giants, so Kurt, you guys are trolling.
Tell him he needs to work. We need to get a big center.
We're Giants and Lions. We got Carson on. All right.
Yeah, exactly.
This show is going south fast with all the trolling that you guys are doing. I love you guys, but serious, it's a Giants show.
Ken, one question I gotta ask Carson. Carson, this is out of we're going to college real quick. I know I'm a Michigan fan, you're a Michigan State fan. Okay? Yep. But you see what's going on now?
Oh yeah.
What is I don't understand. They really want to give Michigan the shaft, man. Yeah. After winning the championship? That's crazy.
What's going on? So everybody knows Carson.
Yeah, so basically Connor Stallions, he was basically provenly shown to be scouting on opposing teams' sidelines and basically sign stealing other teams' playbooks. And literally there's videos and pictures of him wearing a Central Michigan outfit on when we played Central Michigan. The whole controversy right now is should Michigan and their coach be suspended for all of that nonsense that was going on with Harbaugh last year. It doesn't really bother me that much. You know, you guys won the championship. That whole thing kind of passed. I think they might suspend the head coach a couple games this year, but it's not really a huge concern for me. I think
it's because he deleted those messages and all that stuff too.
Yeah,
I'm like, come on.
There's actually a documentary coming out on Netflix in a couple weeks about the whole story behind from his point of view, Connor Stallions.
Right. Yeah, so, I see that. I'm gonna watch that.
Kind of crazy. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I mean, I think the crazy theory, they're possibly saying they're going to vacate the title. I don't see that happening at all. But I mean, I could totally see a suspension and maybe look further into it. But that's really all I see.
I got you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Let's get back into Giants. It's okay.
That's a good question, Mark.
That's a good question.
I had to ask. I have to ask him that because he's a Michigan State fan.
We're going to get into Giants now.
Let's go.
And anything else in the chat that's not related to the Giants is getting ignored the rest of the show.
Thank you.
Carson, do you have a few more minutes with us?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm chilling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my next question to Carson, guys, and you guys can throw some questions at him too, Mark and Paul, related to Giants or Lions. I'm going to go and ask Carson his outlook for the Lions this year. I mean, you guys are one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. Yeah. Do you think it's legit? You know, like what is your outlook for your Lions this year?
Yeah, I think the hype is real. The only concern I have is it going to be too much for us to handle? Because the Lions were the Lions. They were the worst franchise ever, and nobody expected anything. And then Dan Campbell came in. He turned everything around. Brad Holmes has done an unbelievable job in the draft. Obviously lost in the NFC Championship game last year. But yeah, I mean, if we can stay healthy, I don't see why this team can't win a Super Bowl. I think the Niners are still the gauntlet in the NFC. Maybe the Eagles might be on the rise. We'll see what happens with them. But yeah, I think we're legit, and I think it's now or never. We paid Penei Sewell, we paid Goff, we paid Amon-Ra. I think Aiden Hutchinson, you're going to probably have to pay him next year or the year after that. So the window's now. You got to capitalize off it. So I'm all in.
Paul, I'm going to go to you for Eddie because we're going to go back and forth, Lions, Giants, questions. So Eddie's got a Giant question, Paul. And it's a comment, but I want to know if you agree with this.
Okay.
Put your bets in. I think Daniel Jones, if healthy and O-line is better, he wins comeback player of the year. You're a big Daniel Jones backer, so what are your thoughts on that?
As Jim Fossil once said, I'll push all my chips into the middle of the table. I agree. I think I can definitely see that happening. Absolutely. Yep. I'm with you, Eddie.
You agree with it, Mark? I think I could see Daniel Jones I don't know about comeback player of the year, but I could see him having a solid year where you don't go and draft a quarterback next year.
Right. He needs to stay healthy. The line has to protect him. And if he does have a year like he did a couple years ago when they went to the playoffs, then I could consider being a comeback player of the year, for him. Like I said, he needs to stay healthy. Hopefully that knee, his reconstructive knee will hold up. But I agree.
Andrew Thomas is the key to keeping him healthy because Andrew Thomas needs to stay healthy. Cody Wild, as a Giants fan, going to be another long season. Lions very close to getting that ring. Cody, I believe in our defense, and we got a stud in Neighbors, so I don't know if it's going to be as long a season as you think. I don't think it's going to be a 4 or 5 win season. I think we're going to be around that 8 to 10 win range. I really do. Carson, outside perspective, what do you think the Giants' record could be this year?
Yeah, it's going to come down to health, especially your O-line. We'll see what Devin Singletary does. I love the addition of Brian Burns on defense to pair with Dexter Lawrence. I think that's going to be a legit 1-2 punch in your guys' defense. We'll see what happens in your secondary, but I think this is a huge year for Daniel Jones. In my opinion, you guys got to win at least eight games this year, 8 and 9, somewhere hover around that 500 mark.
Right.
Because if you guys win 6 games, man, or like you guys go 6-11, you guys got to seriously start talking about maybe drafting a quarterback next year. So I see an 8 and 9 record and barely missing out on the wild card. But we'll see what happens. You guys improve your O-line. I love the Brian Burns addition. We'll see what happens with Singletary. I really think MALIKNABERS is going to be the best wide receiver out of this draft class. Everybody's saying it's Marvin. But I think MALIKNABERS is the guy that's going to take you guys over the top. Daniel Jones finally has a number 1 wide receiver. So I'm thinking like the 8 and 9, maybe 9 and 8 range. That's kind of where I put you guys right now.
And that's fair in my opinion, Carson. I do think that's very fair assessment.
Carson.
Paul, yeah.
I have a question for Carson, if I can.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have strengths, obviously, all over the place on your team. Offensive line, quarterback, receiver, defense. What would you say is the one weakness that you really need to shore up that maybe might make the difference between a Super Bowl or not?
Yeah, I think it comes down to secondary. We really struggled last year in the secondary. We did improve our D-line. We got DJ Reader. He's going to help with Aiden Hutchinson. We got a couple corners in free agency with Carlton Davis. So I think it's going to come down to health, but secondary is really going to be the big ask, especially from these younger guys. So that could probably be the weakness that I see on this team.
Eddie Murphy, some comments. Eddie Murphy, Lions were the Tigers of the NFL. Speaking of Andrew Thomas, Carson, did you hear that hit on the Lions D-back number 0? He doesn't know who that was, but it was loud.
Was it?
I don't know who number 0 is. Is that one of your rookies? Well, Arnold, you said got hurt. Is that
maybe that might be Terrion. I think he does wear 0, so that might have been him.
Oof, he got hit from Andrew Thomas. That's pretty rough. Eddie Murphy, Marvin Harris Jr. seems like a diva already because of the whole he doesn't want Fanatics selling his jersey. The sports company Fanatics selling his jersey.
Oh boy, really?
Carson, do you like the Taylor signing?
Taylor signing. Give me a first name, last name.
That's from Jody. Was that a typo, Jody, or give us the full name?
The Tyrod Taylor signing. Is that what he means?
That's the Jets. So I don't know.
No, the Jets got Tyrod.
Yeah, Carson, Jody, type that in for us. Give us a full name if you don't mind. But yeah, so like I said, 9 and 8, 8 and 9. I think that's fair, Carson. My prediction for the your left tackle, he wants to know, Jody.
Oh, Taylor Decker. Oh yeah, I love that a lot. He's been through the thick and thin with us. Got his first division win, playoff win. He was with Stafford. That was a great signing by us. Yes, for sure, Jody.
I got I'm going to give Carson my prediction. Paul and Mark can give him his prediction. This is the year. And Carson, you can hold your ears if you want. I'm not going to jinx him. I'm not a jinx. I'm not a troll. I love you guys. I'm messing with you out there with Kurt and Jody. But I got the Lions 11-6, 12-5, beating the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC Championship to go to the Super Bowl.
That'd be crazy.
I don't know who they're playing yet. I won't make a Super Bowl prediction tonight, but they're going to be our NFC representative, guys. You're hearing it here first on New York Giants Football Talk. Paul,
if we can't get in, I'll love that. Listen, if that's the final championship game for the NFC, hey, I'm all in.
Nice.
Mark, you got a prediction? They're going to go to the Super Bowl?
It's a possibility because the way they should have went last year. Put it that way. If Dan Campbell, I love him. He played for the Giants. He's risky. He's an animal. Put it that way. And I love him as a player and a coach. And they have a chance because Green Bay. That's my son's team. I'm sorry. We're in New Jersey. He's a Green Bay fan. I have no idea why.
You can't talk too loud if Junior's around.
No, yeah, I know. Trust me. Well, we got Scheer, so I still got bragging rights. It's going to be between them and the Lions, but I think the Lions might squeak by and get the division.
Nice. Love it.
They're going to be like
we won't ask for your prediction. We don't want you to jinx your team, Carson, unless you want to. You can throw a prediction out there, but I think it's definitely playoffs. I think they're going to represent us in the NFC, nice. And I will be rooting for them hard. So,
absolutely, why not?
Carson, our final segment tonight. I don't know if you want to hang out.
Sure.
You're more than welcome. Yeah. We're doing top 100 Giants of all time. Paul has started that. So, Paul, why don't you explain to the audience and Carson what you've been doing?
Okay. So, as some of you know, Giants are celebrating their 100th anniversary this year. They've had a number of things already. They've put out a throwback jersey that some people hate, well, some people like. Kenny and I love the jersey. They have an emblem that they put out that incorporates a lot of the different aspects of the Giant history. And one of the other things they did was like the NFL names the top 100 players every year. The Giants had a group of sports writers and sportcasters and things like that name their top 100 Giant players of all time. Needless to say, 5,000 players have played with the Giants, so to narrow it down to the top 100 was not an easy task. So right now they're releasing 10 every week or so. So the last couple of weeks they've released numbers 70 to 61 and 60 to 51. So I'm going to mention a couple of names in the 70 to 61, and I'll ask you guys give me some feedback. So, for example, number 69, Brandon Jacobs. Mark, what do you think of Brandon Jacobs making it at 69?
I think it's right. He's right there at 69. I know he won 2 Super Bowls with them. He's a big back. He helped Giants win those both Super Bowls. So I think he's good right there at 69. What a number too. Sorry.
No kidding.
This is a
I
PG
think
show.
that fits Jacob 69 because he likes to do that little torque and stuff like that during when he gets those touchdowns and stuff.
Moving right along, 61 was Jason Pierre-Paul. Kenny, what do you think about Jason Pierre-Paul being 61?
I think Pierre-Paul could have been ranked a little higher. I really like Jason Pierre-Paul. I think he does. When you talk edge rushers, defensive ends, you always talk Lawrence Taylor, Michael Strahan. You don't hear Jason Pierre-Paul's name mentioned enough. And then he had the tragic injury that really hurt his career a little bit with the fireworks incident, losing fingers. But he was definitely somebody I would maybe rank a little higher, maybe in the 40s. I would put him. It's high up in a couple, about 15, 20 positions higher.
Yeah, he made a big impact. Carson, do you know Sean O'Hara? Right? Yeah. He was number 65. Centered the O-line for the Giants in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, the undefeated Patriots. Obviously, he's made a big name now, post-football career. He's on a show with Eli, and he's on the NFL Network. But certainly a guy that was a great pickup for the Giants as a free agent. Some other guys that go back in my time, Keith Hamilton was a defensive tackle in the Strahan era, and I think one of the more underrated Giant defensive linemen. The nickname was the Hammer, and he was a very, very good player. And another guy that maybe a little young for you guys, Brian Kelly, was a linebacker back when Brad Van Pelt.
LSU head coach? I'm kidding.
What's that?
LSU head coach? I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding.
Easy, Ken.
But he was a very sort of the heady linebacker, sort of like a guy before Gary Reasons. But Kelly and LT and Harry Carson and Brad Van Pelt, they call him the Crunch Bunch. But he was number 67 on the list. So another really good long-term player for the Giants. So let's go to...
I got a couple questions from Jody. And I want to get them now, and then we'll do your final. Let's do them. Okay. First one's for you, and then the second one he addressed to you, Paul, but I want to give it to Carson. So first one I'm going to give to you. He wants to know how Simmons has looked in training camp so far.
Simmons has looked actually very, very good. They're going to use him probably better than the way Wink used him last year. Sort of a quasi linebacker, but defensive back. And they've had him covering tight ends, sort of almost like a large nickel, which is amazing when you think of the kind of athlete that Isaiah Simmons is. And I think looking at him and the kind of player he was at Clemson, I think they're finally going to utilize him in his best way possible. So I think it's exciting that, number one, they brought him back, but number two, Shane Bowen, the new defensive coordinator, realizes he has a guy that he can really utilize some of the talent that a guy like Isaiah Simmons brings to the defense.
And Mark and I wanted Simmons in that draft, so
we
got
that, Kenny. Exactly.
We want Simmons. We want Simmons. We were live. Carson was live with us too on that draft show.
I remember that. I wanted him so bad.
Yep. Let me give Carson this one from the outside perspective, because I think this is a perfect question to give to him from Jody. He wants to know if Eli Manning, and we're going to do this on Wednesday. Paul's going to have this going to be one of Paul's segments on Wednesday's show. He wants to know if Eli is a first ballot Hall of Famer, Carson.
So Kenny, I'm sorry. Can we keep that question and do it Wednesday? Because I think
Jody's not there. That's why I wanted to, we can do it again on Wednesday.
All right.
On Wednesday, but It's the audience questions, so I don't want to get out there. But we're going to do it a whole seg. We're going to get into it big. We'll have Carson answer it, and then we'll all answer ours on Wednesday. We'll do it that way.
Yeah, just short and sweet. Yes, he won 2 Super Bowls.
Fair enough. And then we'll get it on Wednesday, Jody. We're going to do a whole segment on it. Eddie wants to know if Neighbors is playing Thursday, guys. I don't know yet. I would look into the weather forecast. The weather forecast is supposed to be very nasty.
Yep, it's going to be nasty up here.
So I would say that. And Eddie watched that LT bounty clip, Kenny, and wow. Yeah, watch that on YouTube, guys, the bounty hunt. But before Paul, we want to do what? We got another 10, right, Paul? 60 to 51?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So number 60, Jumbo Elliott, big offensive lineman. You guys probably remember him from the Super Bowl era. Kenny, left tackle, was Sims's bodyguard at left tackle, and just a huge guy. One of my favorite Giants of all time, number 59, Victor Cruz, was a fabulous receiver. Mark, what did you think of Victor Cruz?
I think he should have been a little bit higher up because the way he was a free agent. They signed him as a free agent, didn't get drafted, and all of a sudden he came in there. He made fantastic catches against the Jets. You heard what whatchamacallit said? Hey, who is that kid? Hey, who's that number 3 kid? And he's making these one-handed catches, and all of a sudden he comes in, he plays a game, he misses the ball and Kaufman not cut him, but he put him in the doghouse, and after that he just became an awesome wide receiver, man. I think he should be in the 40s where JPP is in the 40s.
Paul, before you continue, Jody wants to know if we can see the salsa dance.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, go, Paul. Look out!
Yeah.
Look out!
I still say one of my favorite all-time Giant plays is the 99-yard touchdown against the Jets.
Oh,
I was in
church. I was in church in that when I heard about it. I was in church. I'm like, yes, quiet.
We were having Christmas dinner with my parents, and I'm screaming, and my parents are looking at me like, "What the hell are you doing?" I couldn't help it. All right. Moving down the list, 55. Great player for the Giants, but not as well known, but became one of the all-time great coaches in NFL history. Tom Landry was a defensive back and defensive coordinator. Could you imagine? He played defensive back and was also the defensive coordinator at the same time. And then, of course, once he retired, he went on, obviously, to become one of the all-time great coaches of all time with the hated Dallas Cowgirls, but again, great Giant player. 52, Kenny, David Deal. Tell me a little bit about David Deal.
I like David Deal. Solid player, Super Bowl winner. I would have put Sean O'Hara and Jumbo Elliott ahead of him, though, to be honest with you. Just a little bit. I think Jumbo Elliott, when you talk about protection on the blind side, right, you think of Jumbo Elliott, and just by the nickname alone, But and then Sean O'Hara, I think, should have been a little higher, and I think he was not much better than Deal, but I think he was better than David Deal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Deal played, except for center, he played all the other positions, and I think he was very consistent in terms of he never missed games, and he was always there. And whether one Super Bowl versus 2 Super Bowls, he was there for both the last 2 Super Bowls, and maybe that made a difference. I don't know. Number 51 on that list, and I'm going to go to Carson, O.J. Anderson, who Super Bowl MVP against Buffalo in the wide right Super Bowl. I'm sure you've seen highlights. Tell me a little bit about Carson about O.J. Anderson.
Yeah, I think it's right where he should be ranked, kind of right in the middle. Obviously, a big piece of your team during that era. I think that's a right spot for OJ. Again, that was years ago before I was born, so I don't know much info, but I have seen the highlights with that Super Bowl vaguely. So I think he should be right there.
He played in 2 of them. What's that? Good. I'm sorry, Paul.
Yeah. Actually, they got him in at the very end of the
Right.
'86 Super Bowl, and Parcells let him score a touchdown.
Yeah,
I
he
think
goes-
maybe thinking he was
Yeah,
not
he
going to be
goes-
around after that.
Exactly. He goes with Anderson. I'll put OJ in. I want him in. And all of a sudden he got the touchdown in the
That's
'86
amazing.
Super Bowl against Denver. I remember that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right. Against who, Mark? Against who? Can you say
Oh.
it one more time?
Oh, I'm sorry. The Denver Broncos. The score was 39-20.
That's right. Okay. I forgot who was it, Paul? I can't hear very well. Who was it?
Some team in the West, somewhere in the Midwest.
Come on our New York Giants show and troll us, Kurt and Jody.
And I
Don't
think
ever
they
do it. We will
Ken,
get the last laugh.
Ken, what was their colors? Orange and blue. They call the big orange crutching crew or something like that. You used to call it?
Yeah, they got crushed, all right. They got crushed. Don't ever.
One other player I want to mention, number 53 on the list, Dave Jennings, was a punter. And back when I first started watching the Giants, they were not good at all. And Dave Jennings was the punter on the team. And he was like the offensive weapon because the offense was horrible. And the defense was pretty good. And Dave Jennings would come out usually 4th and 25, and he'd have to punt the ball to give the Giants defense a good opportunity to hold the opposition. But Jennings was one of the best punters at the time. Probably made us the Pro Bowl numerous times because the Giants were always kicking and punting the ball because their offense was not good. But he made it at number 53, and he was a really, really good player for the Giants at that point.
Nice.
So those are the top 50 or so players, or the last groups of 10. So now it's the last top 50 Giants, and it'll be interesting with the number of good players still out there where they will rank over the next few weeks.
Nice.
Yep.
Thanks, Paul. And one guy I don't remember Dave Jennings well, but a punter that if I would throw a punter in the top 100 guys real quick would be Jeff Fiegels.
Oh, Jeff Fiegels.
Yeah.
Jeff Fiegels.
Yeah.
And why I would put him on there, Carson and guys, is he would angle the punt so there would be no punt return. And the guy knew how to kick the ball out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. And it was just amazing. Like, you knew if he was punting the ball at the 50, the team wasn't going to get the ball. They were going to get the ball inside the 10. And he was going to kick it out of bounds, and there was going to be no punt return.
Kenny, it's interesting you just said that because apparently when Jennings was punting at that time in the NFL, all they did was kick into the end zone, and they wouldn't have net yardage versus gross yardage. And Jennings went to the league and said, listen, I do the same thing that Jeff Fiegels was doing, getting the ball inside the 20, 15-yard line. I shouldn't have a negative type of
Right.
Of a mark against me. There should be some other type of way to show how effective I am. So Jennings went, and they wound up doing that. They wound up going gross and net yardage. So that's a great point that you just made about Fiegels.
Just make sure Deshaun Jackson isn't returning the punt.
Yeah,
Ken, don't forget.
You had to say that, Carson.
Yeah.
Ken, Sean Landetta back in when it was that during he's punting into the wind. That thing was hang timing, and the Washington Redskins couldn't even throw the ball or kick the ball. He would punt it and it'd be like 4 yards in the air. I mean, four seconds in the air.
Okay. Yeah.
Don't forget Sean Landetta too.
It's true. All right, guys, before we wrap up, I want to give I'm not going to say Carson's on with us, Mark's on with us tonight, whoever's in the audience. I'll do this again when we do our number one, but I got a honorable mention 1 and 1A, thanks to Paul and his lovely wife, Luby. Hope she's doing well, Paul. Give us a quick update on Luby. We've been asking about her. We should have did that at the beginning of the show. And I apologize.
Thank you so much. For those of you who don't know, Luby went a week ago tomorrow. She underwent her second total knee replacement surgery. This one was the right knee. She's been a warrior. She's still in pain. She went for her first physical therapy session late this afternoon.
She's gonna be sore. Paul. She's gonna be sore.
she is, but the good thing about it is she's a warrior. She's my hero. She's gutting this out, and little by little, week by week, it'll get better and better. And so, thanks, Kenny, for asking. We appreciate it, and thanks.
Our thoughts, prayers, speedy recovery. I should have did that at the beginning, Paul, and I apologize.
Sure.
But
That's all right.
Share what you and Luby gave me a couple weeks ago. A couple of the New York Giants Super Bowl jerseys.
Oh,
fellas.
nice.
Oh,
And this first one right here, and I'm going to see if I can find the autograph, pull it up close, is David Tyree.
Wow.
The catch.
oh,
Okay, and then this second one.
man.
I
need one.
Frames are ordered. Plaxico Burress, the winning touchdown.
Ah,
And if you can see he wrote an inscription, game
Ah!
touchdown.
Wow, that's
Plaxico
really
Burress.
cool.
Paul, you're killing me here, pal.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Luby. I wanted to share that on the Giants show with everybody. This banner behind Paul also gave that. And Kurt, I will mention this. Kurt got a Knicks basketball from Paul and Luby. Walt Frazier signed basketball.
Oh, that's nice.
That's really cool.
So thank you, Paul. Thank you, Luby.
Our pleasure.
Definitely
Our
gonna put
pleasure.
that up in nice jersey frames. And I'm going to get the legacy uniforms. Going to have a nice Giants wall over here for the Giants show.
Nice.
And the other wall will be K&K. But guys, it's time for some final thoughts. I want to thank our audience. I want to thank Mark for coming on tonight, and I want to thank Carson for coming on tonight with us doing some Lions football talk. It's always nice to get the other teams that the Giants are playing, and hopefully during the season we can get some more fans and friends of our shows on and discuss the upcoming games. But let's start with Mark. Final thoughts, Mark. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight.
No problem. Carson, it's a pleasure talking to you for the first time.
Too, Mark. For sure.
I know you're Michigan State. I'm Michigan, but it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. No, I'm excited about Thursday. Hopefully, I don't get called into work and stuff like that because it's supposed to get really bad rain from tomorrow night into like Saturday and stuff like that. They said it was gonna be crazy. So, but I'm excited. I want to see the game. I want to see how they're gonna play. So I'm very excited about this coming season.
And Jody just messaged me on the side. He was sorry he asked that Hall of Fame ballot question, Jody.
That's all right.
We're gonna
All
get
good, Jody.
Wednesday's going to be our deep talk into it. So we're going to have all the guys. We're going to do a nice segment on it and discuss it with everybody. Carson, thank you for hanging out tonight. Please let us know about the Carson Scheer show. Let our audience know. I know we had a couple new people in there tonight, so please let them know what you're doing over there. And best of luck to your Lions this year. Hopefully, if the Giants, I don't think they'll be in the Super Bowl this year. So if the Giants aren't there, I'll be rooting for your Lions.
There you go. Nice. Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate you guys stopping, everybody in the chat, watching. Mark, good to meet you finally. Paul, Kenny, always a pleasure. Carson Scheer Show. You can check me out everywhere: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Just kind of give my thoughts and opinions on any news that breaks, mostly Detroit sports stuff. I'm covering a couple of the Olympics, so I'm talking about like the Team USA basketball team right now. Any big major news that happens, I give my reactions to. I'm looking forward to your Giants. Like Kenny just said it, as long as they're not playing the Lions, I'm going to be rooting for the Giants this year. I hope Daniel Jones earns his $40 million contract, and who knows, if he balls out this year, that contract might look good. Neighbors, I'm looking forward to. I just finished watching Hard Knocks. You guys seem to have a legit front office and organization. I know that must have killed you guys when you guys let go of Saquon. But I think you guys made the right decision in paying an offensive line because that's where it all starts. So definitely looking forward to it, and best of luck this season.
Thank you, Carson. And always a pleasure, and we'll see you on Wednesday, normal time, K&K Sports Show. Looking forward to it, as we always do. Always a pleasure, my friend. Paul, going to give you the final word tonight.
Thank you, sir. Always a pleasure, Kenny. Mark, thank you for coming in tonight. Always a pleasure to have you, sir.
Hey,
Carson,
anytime.
Carson, of course,
For sure,
our
Paul.
brother on the K&K show. Always a pleasure to talk Lions football, especially now that we're playing you guys on Thursday night. So thank you for coming in and spending the evening with us. everybody, thanks for the questions, comments, criticisms, trolling, whatever else that you guys were doing out there tonight. We appreciate it all.
And I apologize, Paul. I said I got to give you the final word, but speaking of trolls, Kurt's 2 cents will be live 10 p.m. this evening. Be sure to check it out. He's going to be ranting about some stuff. So if you're not doing anything, go listen to it. It's hilarious. So go listen to Kurt's 2 cents, 10 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be a blast. And one last one, Trevor Salzman, our good friend, Denver Bronco Roundup. Hey guys, sorry I'm late. Hope you had a great show. I will go back and watch. Trevor, always a pleasure. I'll be joining. Keith's taking his daughter to Ohio, so I was invited to join the guys tomorrow on their Denver Bronco Roundup show. I'll be filling in for Keith. So check that out tomorrow, 9:15. And everybody have a great night, and we'll see everybody Wednesday. And Kurt's 2 cents, 10 p.m. Have a good night.